Welcome, everyone. A little surprise. The poet who is supposed to be reading tonight, Finnegan, is not here, and we have not heard anything from him. So what we do have is one Efrain Gonzalez, who is going to be showing some photographs from the period when Finnegan was here writing these poems. So we might as well do that. But let me just say, my name is Greg Newton. My partner is Donnie Joe, and we are the co-founders of the Bureau of General Services Queer Division, which is the space you now find yourself in. And the explanation for our lengthy name is that we are a government agency for a government that does not yet exist. And this is what we do. This is the service we provide, is holding this space for queer culture. So we have regular bookstore hours, 1 to 7, Wednesdays through Sundays. And then we do lots of events in the evenings. And usually the people show up for their events, but not tonight. But thankfully we do have Efrain here with some wonderful photos from the 80s. Well, I guess from 1990 mostly, yeah?
From the late 80s up to the 90s.
All right, so I'm gonna turn the show over to Efrain.
Just give me 1 second to set up this thing here.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're filming too. And Donnie, can you do the lights when we're ready?
Yes, I just want to make sure we're set up the projection on the screen.
Yep.
Good for that.
I will get that going now. Voila.
Could I ask a little bit about the work on the wall?
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Efrain, so this is a show by Catalina Schlievener-Munoz. The show is called Satanic Panic, and it's a series they've been working on for years. So this is just part of that work. Collages, drawings, and they also do vinyl prints. A lot of it involves Disney material. So it deals with, Cata is from Chile and grew up in the 90s. And Satanic Panic, well, you may know it from this great nation, but it happened elsewhere too, where religious conservatives, religious right-wingers had a panic about all aspects of culture. I mean, it's still going on, of course, and seeing Satan everywhere. So it also focused a lot on people in childcare and say, you know, accusing people in childcare of being Satanists, of harming children. So that's what the title refers to. And Cata grew up with a lot of American, even though they were in Chile, they grew up with a lot of American culture. And so it's kind of a weaving together of kids' culture and this anxiety about Satan.
May I tell you one small story about Satanic Panic from 1989?
Please.
1989, I flew out to Portland, Oregon to attend a leather fetish festival. And I was welcomed. I told them I'm a photographer, and they said, oh, you must take pictures. So they allowed me to walk all over the event, photograph this, photograph that. People would grab me, oh, you got to photograph this person being tied up. It's fantastic. Then they grab me, oh, you got to photograph this person being whipped. It's fantastic. So in 1989, I took hundreds of photographs of this event, and everyone was very happy. It was such a wonderful event, living in leather, that I decided to go to it the next year, 1990. 1990, I flew out to Portland, Oregon, and all of a sudden they said, no cameras anyways, no pictures. Satanic Panic had created such an atmosphere of fear that they did not want any photographs at all. They wanted to run this whole event under the carpet so that nobody would notice it because they were so afraid of the Satanic Panic people. It got to the point where I was outside down the block taking pictures, and they started interrogating, who are you? Why are you taking pictures? That's how much fear they put into the neighborhood, into the community, the leather fetish community. Even though, I mean, there was, no criminality whatsoever. We're all adults, but there was such a fear. That's what Satanic Panic did in 1990.
Yeah, it's taken many forms in different places, but it's still with us.
It keeps coming back. It's like a bad infection. Well, on that note, let's start from the beginning here.
Yeah, this is the first one.
Oh,
Make sure.
I can have some light here. Oh, anyway, no, it's fine. We'll start with the slideshow and then go into the poems.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Efrain Gonzalez, and I'm a photographer. I'm a bisexual photographer. I've been photographing since high school, and I've had the good fortune to save the vast, overwhelming amount of my negatives, my films, my photographs, my prints. And what I would do is I used to photograph all kinds of fun, interesting events, all of the forbidden underground cultures that existed in New York City. The leather cultures, the trans culture, the bisexual, the gay, the promiscuous, the sex club scene.
The satanic.
The satanic scene. And I made friends with various members of a poetry group called Dark Star. Dark Star was the invention of a bunch of young bisexual poets who wanted to express their bisexuality through poetry. They formed a group and they would go to various places. Forgive me. Go to various performance spaces and do their readings. And in this photograph here, you see Finnegan. No, that's not it. I was hoping. You see here Finnegan on the fire escape overlooking Delancey Street. And I love this photograph because it shows Delancey Street in like the late 80s when it was this big, broad, wide open street. Now it's like full of yuppie high towers and everything. And that's Maria. And she was also a member of Dark Star. Push the button. And they asked me to photograph their group. So we decided to do a whole series of photographs of the Dark Star community as we wandered through East Village and Lower East Side at night around 1990. This is when they were just becoming popular. They were doing a lot of shows on different places, different venues all over New York City, talking about their bisexual poetry. This is when you had a lot of gay politics popping up all over the place. You had, like in 1990, you had your first gay politicians elected into office, which was a first at the time. And we would go through various parts of the East Village, trying to find interesting spots to take group photos in. I like this one because you can see the steam vents, the steam from the city. This is 14th Street in the East Village. Happens to be where Con Ed has a lot of their factories, a lot of the buildings. So you see a lot of steam vents in that area. So I decided to pose them in front of the steam vents to get that New York City ambiance. Here they are at the Knitting Factory. Knitting Factory is a famed performance. You know about the Knitting Factory. Can you tell us anything about the Knitting Factory?
Only what it is today.
What is it today?
It's an event space today where young artists have seen shows there.
Well, these are young artists who came and what? No, these were young artists came and did shows in 1990. So here you see some of the members of Dark Star, including Finnegan in the black hat, you know, discussing who goes first, what poem we're going to do next, you know, blah, blah, blah. There he is waiting to go on next. It is, he always wore the same outfit, this black leather, the black hat, and of course the this big metallic stomping boots. He loved those boots. And here he is reading his poetry out loud and out live to a packed house. You know, the entire place was just jammed with people coming in to listen to Dark Star poetry. Because these were young kids who were basically on the forefront of bringing out bisexual culture, creating bisexual culture as it was, because in the 1990s, you know, this was when, gay sexuality, gay politics was still emerging, still forming, still shaping. You were still shaping that back then, weren't you?
I was in high school.
Oh, yeah, you were shaping. Yeah.
I was 21.
So you were shaped already, okay.
In New Orleans, not here.
Oh, then it doesn't count, okay.
Okay.
It's like I always said, I went to New Orleans, but I was with my parents, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And here we have, now in the 80s, we would have bisexual discussion groups held here at the Gay Community Center. This is before the 2 renovations they did to this building. They did 2 major structural renovations to this entire building. And at the time, when the building was newly opened as a gay community center, you had all these nooks and crannies. You had these little rooms on the upper floors. You had these old staircases winding through. You had these gigantic, enormous bathrooms with huge porcelain urinals in them. You know, this is from like the turn of the century. So you had all this old architecture all over. And I remember I would come here in the 80s and I would go up the stairs to the top floor where they would have a little room. And that's where we'd have the bisexuals discussion. So you have like anywhere between 4 to 8 people would come by and we would try to discuss, you know, what bisexuality is to us. And here we have a group of many of the people who belong to the bisexual groups at the time having dinner at David's Pot Belly on Christopher Street. It's a tiny little restaurant on Christopher Street. And oh, here we go. Here's the little pointer. Yes, here's Finnegan. Over here, you can see Brenda Howard. She has received her fame as being the mother of Pride. What happened was when the Stonewall riots occurred, there was a lot of energy being released because of all the action that had happened. And she said, we got to keep the energy going. We got to keep the energy going, keep it up. So she came up with the idea of putting together a march to celebrate the 1-year anniversary. So that would keep the energy going and continues to this day. And over here you have Cynthia Connors, who was responsible for Binet and a lot of other bisexual groups. And over here you have
Angel.
Angel. This was a character who used to hang out at Studio 54 until he was murdered. There's a very famous case about this. And here we have Finnegan backstage at Annie Sprinkle's show, Post-Porn Modernist, and he's speaking to Iris de la Cruz, the AIDS activist. And there he is in his traditional black leather. Again, here's the bisexual group posing somewhere in the East Village. Sitting on the sidewalk. Again, this is on the balcony, and you can see just how wide Delancey Street is. That was an interesting time because they still had Ratner's on Delancey Street, which is a fabulous place to get pastries. Again, the steam vents created a really nice atmosphere, background for the poets to pose against. Finnegan rising, yes. Bisexual poet rising from the steam. Bit like Venus. One of the things we tried to do was create a bisexual t-shirt. So we had a photo session in my house and we had various people mixing up and kissing other people. And here was a photograph of Finnegan kissing one of the other bisexuals. The photograph was to be silk printed on a t-shirt and sold for profit to raise funds for the bisexual community. And this is at what, PS 122? It's now a performance space. This is when it was PS 22, an old renovated school. And this is when it was in its raw state, an old grade school or high school on First Avenue and 9th Street? 9th Street. And they would go there and they would do their performances. And here they are rehearsing for one of the performances inside PS 122. Since then, the building has been renovated and now it's a professional performance space. Here we are on Clinton Street on the outside. Typical East Village sidewalk. Graffiti, garbage cans, and locked gates. I love this shot of him. Posing on the cast iron fire emergency. A little humor backstage for one of the shows, Finnegan and Maria. And a sky view of the, here we go. Oh, sorry, false alarm. I'm still waiting. A sky view of the group posing on the floor of PS 122. I found a high ladder. And all the bisexual poets crowding in on me.
How long did the group gather?
I think the lesson for about 10 years or so, on and off. This is one of the other, but these are like home portraits I did of them in my studio. The various members. This is around 1993. And I really don't know how long they lasted, but they were very, very active back in the early 90s. And they would perform in various places throughout the village, bookstores, performance spaces. And, oh, can we have the lights on, please?
Yeah.
So those are some of the photographs I took of Dark Star. And I was lucky enough to be able to save them all. There we go. And a few years ago, Finnegan asked me for some photographs because he wanted to publish a book of his poetry. And he used one of my photographs on the cover, which is very cool. I have a lot of photographs and a lot of covers. It's just, yeah, it's a fun thing. So let me read one of his poems. Let me read the back of the book here to you. The writer weaves a tapestry that traces the American experience through the eyes of the minority. A verbal slap so eloquent, told in depth and without remorse. It is biting and touching, visceral and inviting, taking the reader on a ride that some have either never dared to go or have been forced due to the cultural state of the disunion. Disunion, yeah, he's got it right today. Angel Finnegan has written a sliver of the American illusion in a way that serves as a timestamp on the history of America that is not as pretty and perfect as we care to see. And that's from Tristan Negro, author of Few Confessionals. So Finnegan has been performing his poetry in New York City and beyond for more than 30 years. He's performed at the New Yorican Poets Cafe, the Knitting Factory, the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and at CBGBs, and has been featured in the Village Voice, New York Times, Vanity Fair, and 7 Days magazine. So let me pick out a poem to read to you here. I got a nice one. I think I remember him reading this. Some scenes from the tales. I am the ripping bone. Vultures can choke on me because I have given up fighting in this fierce desert heat of love, and I am a coward. They can pick my miserable bones clean, but I don't want to close my eyes, as I am afraid of the dark. I am afraid of the moon. And the bloodlusty thoughts fills my head with, hey, what's that big light up there? I don't like the sun. Turn the big light off, but I'm afraid of the dark, and I am a coward. Scene 2. I am the ripping bone, and this poem is not about whistles in the night, or the silence of my empty, filthy apartment with a sinking refrigerator, or the sink of dirty dishes, or the fact that I is one poor poet, yes, I'm sure enough, and I'm hoping to get rich one day because I can't take care of myself quite as efficiently as I am 23, and I am ashamed of my crippling stupidity. And I am always alone in the dark, because no one has the courage to love me, and I am the ripping bone. Thank you. Well, you should thank him. pick another nice one. King Kong and the White Woman. King Kong, famous American film star, made his first theatrical debut in the 1930s. He was 50 feet tall, needed a really big trailer, plus he ate tons and tons of food a day. Not the easiest for stars to feed and keep happy on the set. King Kong's dinosaur co-stars were a little easier to please and feed. When hungry, they simply ate each other. King Kong was just your average all-American horror love story, 50 feet of the big black hairy monkey, and he was cast perfectly opposite the White Woman. After all, big black monkeys always go gaga for the White Woman. After years and years and years of living alone on Kong Island with no Mrs. Kong, years and years of only being given ugly black little women to snatch and carry away screaming into the jungle one day, much to his surprise, variation and variety shows up in the form of the White Woman. Thus arises the inspiration for the entire love story angle for King Kong. King Kong loved the White Woman. Because after all, doesn't everybody? How can the big black stupid ape resist the pretty microdoll-sized charms of the White Woman and all her loveliness? King Kong defended himself against many hungry, vicious dinosaurs to protect her blonde, screaming, helpless honor. Even prevented her from being carried away by an evil, nasty, giant, flying pterodactyl. Then the white man comes to her rescue, as always. Naturally, this enrages Kong. He goes on a murderous rampage. He kills many stupid-looking black people who can only think to chuck useless, practically harmless spears at him. He breaks free of his walled-in section of Kong Island and goes nuts, crushing those spear-chucking niggers like black, juicy bugs underfoot. They die ugly little black bug-eyed dolls. But as always, the white man is smarter than King Kong. The white man goes and digs a big pit on the beach, and King Kong is stupid enough to fall into it, get gassed and knocked out. Then the white man and the white woman, greedy, stupid, capitalist pigs that they are, decide to take King Kong back to New York City asleep and in chains. After all, they don't have big black 50-foot tall apes in New York City. They make a fortune. Yes. Pick a short one here. Some of these go on and on. Let's try something else. Stupid world, stupid honkies are everywhere. They rule, they dominate, like an infestation of self-congratulation and vanity. And you're just as stupid as they, if you let what they say rule you. Stupid honky world. Stupid honkies don't have or make any sense in reality. That's why they're stupid honkies. And all stupid people, honky or no, are but willing slaves to the wage slaves, to the fame slaves, to the image slaves, to the game. If you can't see these things for what they are, you have no reason, cause or right to bitch or justify complaints of your petty discomforts with the filthy nature of life, because you don't actually recognize what the fucking problem is. The whole human world is not made up of perfect pedigree white people. So get over it, because that, and not your lame heterosexist situation comedy dreams, is reality. A true reality TV won't be broadcast on CNN or cable, not without some serious cuts, rewrites, and editing. Although by then, what's left is hardly newsworthy. Your college-educated honky ass still can't create shit. Try reciting some real poetry from someone not hundreds of years dead. Try listening to some real progressive black music. You're not some aging, childless, rapping cave nigger crap that whiny hockey asshole, Eminem, darling, and MTV god and hero to the brain dead 20-somethings out there, is busy burying now for good with this crossover theft. Creatures. This is an ode to the end of the American dream. Ride with me on the wings of barking ravens, down these wind-burned tunnels of tree and slope to the valley of the beasts, where the windmills of my mind are whirling under icy blades of burning moon and stars, to this old house standing sentinel. Take a stand with me against the mask of evil. I will tear off the damned wall that's rising up, slamming and sliding me along the pitch of plastic floor as the world is turning upside down. I'm flung against the ceiling where I shatter out a skylight and plunge cold into a sea of stars, weightless as thought, as free as light, but twisted darkly by pure fucking terror. It was pure. It was simply pure. It was simply dark. It was simply hell as hot as the rage of angels. And along some nameless, endless, nightmarish ghetto, I am an American, just like you. We are monsters together and falling free and fast and harder and deeper and faster. We smash through membranes and crash coldly under black liquids in a barren womb and claw through a fleshy steam, blood-filled openings, blinded by unholy brightness outside, beyond the gate. And so born, I am alone, but inseparable from you, my evil twin. Finnegan was a gentleman I met years ago with the poetry group, and we bounced back and forth. We'd have fun. We go to these wonderful events. And I remember one terrible time when he got run over by a taxi cab and spent several weeks in a hospital with a broken leg. That was a very hard time for him. He used to live in the East Village, so I used to go to his place all the time, hang out there with Cynthia and all the poetry kids, living on Avenue B, in this little apartment. And I remember one time I was working for a big rich company, and the day before Thanksgiving, just as we're being let out of work, management gives us everyone a frozen turkey. Imagine you're given a cannonball turkey that's frozen solid. It's going to take at least 2 weeks to thaw out. And when is Thanksgiving? No, it's tomorrow. So I took the turkey to Cynthia's house with Finnegan and the whole family, and they had to figure out a way to defrost this giant iceberg in 24 hours, like 12 hours. And it was a time. Since then, he's traveled around the world. He's lived in Amsterdam for a while. He's worked as a sex worker. I'm basically just giving you the simple facts that I know. His life is far more complex than I can put together here, and I'm very sorry that he is not here to tell you all about it. I'm certain he would give you a wonderful telling of his life. I can only give you the bare bones of it. But he was a fantastic poet, and he was an activist. He was there, and he is here. There's this guy I know named Finnegan.
Perfect.
And he's here to fill in all the spots I couldn't. No sitting down, no sitting down. You gotta face the limelight. The price of fame. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Finnegan, the poet. No, there's a whole bunch of them over there. Which one would you want to pick?
All of them.
All of them. I'll go get them.
Hello, everybody. I apologize for my lateness. It must be my ex. Is it all?
Yeah.
Did you do the slideshow?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Would you like to take a quick look at it again? We can. No, anyway.
So maybe a little introduction. The Dark Star crew was a group of diverse poets that was my first like experience doing my art. After it disbanded 5 years later, I thought, oh my God, I'm a failure, you know. My life is over, you know, and now I look back at these years, it was 30 years ago, and yeah, it's a great beginning, it's a fantastic beginning. I never was able to meet and merge with a diverse group like that before, I mean, again, but after that, I'm going solo and traveling around the world, you know, I found my voice. So this is from Ode to the End of the American Dream. Good morning, America, land of the free. I never miss you. I never miss you. While the rest of the world is so much more cool, free. As a traveling poet, I really do know it's a nationless life that's for me. Good morning, America, land of religious intolerance and politically correct and corrupt domination, to the liberation of social disease and social misinformation. Good morning, America, land of rampant and unchecked fascism, land of hatred and untold racism, land of growing, shocking pollution and Fortune 500 companies. Oh goody, always tax-free for the healthy and wealthy lives. Oh yes, always tax-free. I never loved you and your American dreams. I never loved you of the American dream, a land built on industry and exterminated Native American Indians and slaves. You got to where you are today. You got all your ill-gotten gains through blood, sweat, and tears of raped, murdered, and enslaved indigenous nations more enlightened than you in your arrogance and self-important dreams of rule. You wear your sweet and smiling face to hide the disdain and the hatred of those less physically attractive than you. Those who make wipe your ass for you if you could. And so it is these people you got to push around through your shocking, poorly doctored white American history of lies, corruption, hypocrisy, murder, and deceit, forcing them to do all the nastily unpleasant jobs. I can take this mask off. Yes. Unpleasant jobs. Like raise your gleaming white American children, sweep your church-centric white American streets, clean your white American public restrooms, which no one seems to clean your white American conscience. You just keep on keeping on oppressing those great unwashed ethnic freaks and using devious 21st century enslavement as means of dominating society. Because that is history, isn't it? It never really fucking changes, does it? And even though you have benefited enormously from the backs of human slaves, dug up and defiled the tombs and graves of those of their ancestors, so what? You just had to put up yet another condo, which no one will want to live in because it's ridiculously expensive and too cheaply made. You just had to make room for that new superhighway, which will never really go anywhere different, new, and exciting. You just had to waste millions that could have fed the world's starving population on that cheesy Hollywood cinema pick about large-breasted blonde haired and blue-eyed heterosexual bimbos needing rescuing from beefy blonde-haired, blue-eyed heterosexual heroes. Films which have always reeked and stank of rotting cheese in dreams of violence loved by losers, liars, and weaklings. So stupid and sleazy and greedy these things, these lame games and schemes of the American dream. I don't miss you, and I won't miss its collapse in the end. The American dream has breathed its last gasp, and I'm gonna be there eating popcorn in front row seats. Good morning, America. Good morning, good morning. Can I have your attention, please? Those living in our new and improved planet America now, those who have escaped the future global purge, lacking blonde hair and blue eyes and good breeding, please move further and further to the back. We don't look good on film and camera, you see. Sorry, but we have gone black and have happily come back. We think sticking with our own insanely wealthy white ideas in Hollywood and not letting real black writers and real black directors or producers have a go is only natural when we are in control. You know, those niggers can't even think, read, or spell past the dreadful cave nigger rap songs they've been aping on the radio, like wild jungle gorillas in human clothes. Just picture them actually trying to write real scripts. They'd be a joke. We seem to have run out of ideas for films though, and so we are busy striking now for higher pay or remaking tired remakes of 20th century films, which make you wish they'd never made the originals in the first place, so they could butcher it so. You won't have many movies made about your ugly black behinds, though. That's for sure. So just fuck off, you overambitious Negroes, and stay in your place, just for the content and brain-dead mumbo-jumbo we genuinely provide for you through garbage-strewn, rat-run-down, roach and mouse-infested motel neighborhoods. We allow you to exist in off our refuse and rubbish, just so you can slowly kill each other off, leaving more room for us. Those with white skin are of the superior race, you see. How do we lily white American dreamers know this? It's because it's scientifically proven. White people are the only ones who possess such a variety of hair and eye color, so pretty to look at. And those recessive junk genes are very precious and rare. So everyone must step back and let these superior monkeys needlessly and noiselessly dominate their world with their vain, selfish bullshit. Mind you, it's the whole fucking foundation for their logic and reasoning. Even though it's obvious to everyone, there is no American dream with any original content or substance. Good morning, America. Good morning. Good morning. Goodness gracious me. We sure have a load of fat, insanely fat Americans laying on their asses watching TV, judging themselves superior for the fame-hungry idiots they watch anxiously. Is there more fat people in America than starving babies in Africa? Who knows? Maybe those starving black babies should be allowed to eat those fat people's liposuction treatments. And then everyone would be happy. You're so rich. It's so wasteful, America. Did you know your collectively thrown away food could feed all the starving babies in Africa? But, oh well, let the little nigger baby starve. Who has time to care when it's time for another episode of American Idol. And now you have the gall to call yourself independent, autonomous, and free in a place where you have stolen, overrun, and overused, and have had the nerve to call the home of the brave, where you are now spreading like a human engineered disease. Good morning, America. Good morning. Good morning. The birdies are chirping so sweetly. Good morning, America. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear it? Someone is reading your poetry. Good morning, America. Good morning. Good morning. More and more people are waking up from you and leaving your misery. This is called Republican Nightmare. That was pardon?
Year of the last, or this is same, or.
It's all the same book, but written in different parts of the world, about 30 years ago. Republican Nightmare. Late last night, I dreamed of erotic Macintosh, Reaganomics, pornography, stuffed by buxom twin bush PCs. And I was told by a virtual flea that both of those boobies for brains were dumping and disposing of voted email ballots from all over the US concerning lame popularity contests, always executed very badly, and throwing these things away into obscurity so you don't ever see them in the top secret privacy of guilty cyberspace correspondence. Ha, no surprise there. That sick dream seemed so real. 21st century America, land of the free, loves lame, overlong cinematic sequels starring ugly, idiotic old white men, long past their prime and peak, and putting these hideous images up all over the media like moldy modern gods. ATMs are everywhere in America today. ATMs, as far as the eye can see. I guess this result was the real deal with that bullshit Y2K virus. ATMs are everywhere in America today, outnumbering humans and threatening to form their own separate state. All hail my new Nokia cell phone. Now I'm the man with my brand new 21st century slave bracelet. I can make mine take a video still image of my asshole. Isn't that cool? Late last night, I dreamed my nasty old granny screamed, "Bring back Ronald Reagan from the dead." Last night, my nasty old granny screamed, "Bring back Ronald Reagan from the dead," and make Rudolph Giuliani his vice president. That will do. That will show those stoned internet using vegan tree hugging freaks and fools. With all the media, with all the glossy media enhanced bullshit being force fed endlessly all day long by order of Fortune 500 and advertising executives and GOP. Isn't it comforting? Doesn't it feel squeaky clean to be a card-carrying certified member of conservative white America today? What do you say? Hey, what's your opinion? We'd like to know. Call the toll-free number of our national headquarters at 1-800-WHO-CARES. That's 1-800-WHO-CARES. Do you live with cockroaches or other such scandalous creatures which downgrade your precious quality of life? Tired of using useless and foreign bug spray products which keep you running back to the store for more? We have just the solution for you. Here at Media Pest Unlimited in beautiful downtown Newark, New Jersey, we specialize in the total destruction of those unpleasant little creatures we sometimes unwillingly share our careless little crumbs of food and minuscule drops of water with. Being a hardworking, taxpaying American citizen should give you a right to freedom from such unwanted national pests. We know just how you feel, and we can help. Use new and improved Bugger Off You Nasty Non-White Foreign Creatures, specially available to you, not for 10, not for 50, but our specially discounted $99.99 plus shipping and sales tax. Using our specially patented air raid napalm spray formula, we guarantee 100% extermination of all unpleasant foreign entities. Anywhere you encounter them, this product, anywhere you decide is personal space, this product can be used. Use it anywhere, in the home, in the office, or on vacation. Bugger Off You Nasty Non-White Foreign Creature was proven and tested as effective in the field by the US government back during the Vietnam War. With Bugger Off You Nasty Non-White Foreign Creature, you can rid your home, an entire neighborhood of those unpleasant, national, scandalizing little pests and go back to living this clean, sterile, chemically sanitized life that you so richly deserve. Bugger Off You Nasty Non-White Foreign Creature, Media Pest Unlimited products does not work on maggots, tapeworms, crabs, and lice. Media Pest Unlimited claims no responsibility for any planetary damage done from use of our products. Use at your own risk. When I went to Germany back in 2002, left America for the first time, I noticed they had a blockbuster video. So, just like in the US. And so the first video I saw was King Kong und die weiße Frau. Translation, King Kong and the White Woman. I was like, what? It's like the German sensibility, or mentality kind of saw King Kong as a racist movie. And once I kind of turned the title over in my head, came up with this poem. King Kong and the White Woman. King Kong, famous American film star, made his first theatrical debut in the 1930s. He was 50 feet tall, needed a really big trailer, plus he ate tons and tons of food today. Not the easiest of stars to feed and keep happy on the set. King Kong's dinosaur co-stars were a little easier to please and feed. When hungry, they simply ate each other. King Kong is just your average all-American love story. 50 feet of big black hairy monkey. He was cast perfectly opposite the white woman. After all, big black monkeys always go gaga for the white woman. After years and years and years and years of living alone on Kong Island with no Mrs. Kong, years and years and years and years of only be given ugly little black women to carry and snatch away screaming into the jungle, one day, much to his surprise, variation and variety shows up in the form of the white woman. Thus arrived the inspiration for the entire love story of King Kong. King Kong loved the white woman because, after all, doesn't everybody? How could the big black stupid ape resist the petty micro doll-sized charms of the white woman and all her loveliness? King Kong defended himself against many hungry, vicious dinosaurs to protect her blonde, screaming, helpless honor, even prevented her from being carried off by a giant, nasty, evil pteranodon. Then the white man shows up and comes to her rescue, as always. Naturally, this enrages King Kong. He goes on a murderous rampage. He kills many stupid-looking Black people who can only think to chuck useless spears at him. He breaks free of his walled-in section of Kong Island and goes nuts, crushing those spear-chucking niggers like black, juicy bugs underfoot. They die like ugly little bug-eyed dolls, but as always, the white man is smarter than King Kong. The white man goes and digs a big pit on the beach, and King Kong is stupid enough to fall in, get gassed, and knocked out. The white man and the white woman, greedy, stupid, capitalist pigs that they are, decide to take King Kong back to New York City, asleep and in chains. After all, they don't have big black 50-foot tall apes in New York City. They'll make a fortune. In chains, his name and lights on a Broadway stage. In New York City, King Kong awakens and in a rage, surrounded by all those gawky human cockroaches. King Kong doesn't like all those flashing lights going off in his face. He doesn't like this at all, or the fact that all those human insects aren't running away, screaming from him. But he can fix that. One arm free, and there another. What a difference. Look at them go. That's the way King Kong likes to see these silly human bugs running and screaming. He stomps on a few. Oh my, they crunch, they squish as easily as the spear chuckers did. Delightful. No, he causes millions of dollars of property damage and insurance lawyers' nightmare. He shakes people free of trains he has derailed. He causes panic and terror everywhere he goes, but he still can't find the white woman. Where is that noisy, platinum blonde bitch? Then he finds her with the white man, but instead of killing him, King Kong follows the lame script, which is written by the same lame white man to begin with. So King Kong takes the white woman atop the Empire State Building, where he makes his epic last stand. Then later in the 1970s version, King Kong takes her atop the Twin Towers. Both battles are stupid and overlong, ending with King Kong's dramatic death. And it is stated rather blandly at the end of the film that it was beauty that killed the beast. But the white woman is still alive and still not fair. King Kong's death didn't really happen until years and years later. He also did a picture where he meets a Mrs. Kong and has a kid, but it bombs at the box office. The white woman, meanwhile, after a brief wedding, decides to take the white man to the cleaners for the California law-style divorce. And then later, she becomes King Kong's new agent. King Kong seems only to be a one-hit wonder. So the white woman has an idea that will help King Kong's lackluster career. The real story of Kong's death is not known by most, but as the white woman planned it, no one would find out. She decides to sign King Kong on to do a picture in Japan. This was her first and last mistake. 3 weeks into shooting, King Kong begins to relax and enjoy himself. At first, King Kong enjoys destroying parts of Japanese towns and villages. He throws his back into the role and notices for the first time in his life, he is happy. The Japanese are very nice to King Kong, giving him star treatment, a really big trailer. Plus, they serve him tons and tons of fabulous whale-sized takeout. King Kong loves Japanese.
Then King Kong finally meets his co-star, but Godzilla just laughs at him. Really, says Godzilla, even my infant son is bigger than him. Godzilla almost refuses to work at all with the American actor. A mere 50 feet tall, and I'm supposed to fight him to defend the honor of Japan? Are the Americans crazy? Is this some kind of stupid joke? Asked Godzilla. He stands a good 8 times taller than King Kong. But Americans were convinced King Kong could win against Godzilla. Americans everywhere, especially the white women, convinced King Kong, who was very nervous about the whole thing, that he could win indeed in a fight against Godzilla. I'm not so sure about this, King Kong tells the white woman in confidence. I can cause millions of dollars in property damage, but that guy can cause billions and billions of dollars of destruction. But the white woman says, if you don't fight Godzilla, America will look bad. So go ahead, baby, do it for me. Get into that ring of burning buildings and show Godzilla what America is made of. Go on, go ahead, baby, do it for me, baby, she says, passing her pretty blue eyes up at him. It was a short match. King Kong runs into the ring, beating on his hairy 8 chest and looking fierce, where he is instantly burned up to death by a bored-looking Godzilla, half yawning, whose nuclear breath is barely sent at half power. The white woman is impressed and tries to take Godzilla on as her next client. But Godzilla has no time for this silly little white woman. With a quick, deafening stomp, she is killed by him as well. King Kong's remains were buried on the beach of Monster Island. Godzilla, who decides it's the best he can do for the poor, stupid monster, by Godzilla. Many curious monster tenants come to see what Godzilla is doing. Godzilla has a great time telling them about the easiest monster match in his life. His old buddies Mothra and Rodan are there, and they begin talking about the old days when they had to fight the 3-headed monster. Later that night, King Kong's remains are dug up and eaten by Gamera, the gigantic flying breathing turtle, who has always wanted to try American-style barbecue. Yuck, Gamera says, spitting out a mouthful of incinerated King Kong. Needs more ketchup.
The Dark Burning Rain series, not specifically about racism. Compassion.
Paper hearts are as easily cut as stainless steel, burned up by the fire. Its cinder come easy, love's easy ash, and all too simple to make judgment without having prior experience.
Sorry, blue glasses. Simply project your own perceived value and focus the illusion. Beyond that much, I cannot say. My sincerity is my acceptance. My perseverance is my compassion. And my masochism belongs to you. Last night, when dark birds of doubt clouded the moon, shielding the orchids of stars in my eyes, I allowed you access where you simply broke my heart. Used and poorly spent, I was cold. So winter filled the vacuum. Deep snow filled my frosty lungs, and ravens fluttered from my hands. as I let them peck the pearls of tears from gore holes of my eyes. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights is a man of very few words. He lives visibly in a world of envy, hatred, malice, and madness are all ceaselessly projected at him. And yet he is calm. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights rests serene and certain, for he is not at all concerned with projections. He wants facts, and sick little images teach nothing of value to him. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights wants nothing to do with lies, unless they are yours. And then he is fascinated by them. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights loves a good liar. To he, they are animals, the most dangerous game. And ever the demon hunter, he plays them along, sweetly deceiving that he is deceived. And they gift back deceptions, and they come to lay them down as lovely at his feet. He stands stern and sentinel between towers of power, taking it all in, taking in all the lies being broadcast, morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night, morning, noon, and night, because he wants you to know how much he cares. The Dark Prince of Washington Heights. Sorry, has a personal investment in your health, for he exists in the shadow of it, where your worst imaginings are but merely a delight to him. He loves your vain, sick, terrified imagining, because he can use a good laugh. I, the Dark Prince of Washington Heights, don't make me destroy hysteria.
Wild-haired, snake-eyed, she sat, shrieking at the lights, shining on her, unholy, hold on him. Where, why, irrelevant to her, seeking sustenance for herself. Time stands still, and she's bending to kiss, lick his neck. Her beauty a horror to him, her envy at his innocence, stabbing at her heart, but heartlessly she persists, still hungry as full tongue, slashing out of her face. Freely she bites down. And he struggles, and screaming, he struggles to pull away, traumatized, blood spurting quietly and running down his hands, neck, and chest, and splashing everywhere, sorrow, much as it hurts. It does, making of his flesh a feast for herself, with her insatiable touch and her darkest fantasies, which find his life blood of wine no heart has ever had the pleasure of sipping so sweetly and so heavenly with its shining ecstasies of purity. And the green gulpfuls it's spilling out her mouth in six sweet slurps for a blissful moment. Yes, she smiles, a foolish mad woman, hell bent on feeding off her own offspring and taking sick pleasures. She fondles herself at thought of his rock-hard maleness, which she craves to feast upon. Come to me, child. Mother is lonely. She intends seductive, but politely declining her sick invitation to further hysteria. Her child escapes, fleeing the doom of mother's misspent youth and making his life more honest by running for it. And alone, he lives to tell the tale no one believes or cares to. For if he is a madwoman's child, regardless, surviving her cannibalistic and unholy lust for him, then it must follow also he is mad, that he is no more sane than she. The legacy of madness passed down from generation to generation, he has refused in favor of his own homegrown insanity, spinning round them all in a whirl of sick, shrieking hysteria. I don't have to scream because she screams for me. I just can't take the proof while I hide from the truth. And I do my little ego dance and strut like a goof. I create my own pain, and it's here that I gain all the sickness and the sadness I inherit from fame. I belong with my own, and the place I call home is a place where death and madness reigns and rules on a throne. I am dark fantasy, sick, sad, and unseen, with the light of my reality. It's only a dream. I am dark fantasy, sick, and sad, and unseen, with the light of my reality. It's only a dream. A prayer in the kingdom of Satan. This is a prayer for the final hour, for Our Lady of Steel Talons. I do not have a vehicle, the mistress of circumstances beyond our control. Our Lady of Sweet Flowers, pray with us, splattered in the blood of Christ, is seething in red agonies. In this prayer for the final hour, drawn breath on wind takes angels' wings. Through the skin of teeth, in secrets most revealed, a tongue lashing light, when we pray, to the motor that winds up, to the engine that turns the omnipotent black clouds, that turns the omnipotent fiery wheel of heaven around and around, and around and around these black clouds circle the sun's fire and dresses the light in eternal darkness. Black silken cottony plugs, which can be said to shimmer, which can be said to glitter, constellations for those in need of time and space and judgment, but can be said to trap souls in dreaded flesh. It can be said to trap spirit in rotting meat, to limit desire. There are no cautions in visual wind, terrifying illusion. This universe is a nightmare to drive my mind to distraction. In this final hour, I pray with the angels. We fly from these bodies, whirling in dust, spinning in blue lights torn from the mathematical construction of three-dimensional forms, whirling from a geometry of spinning shapes, trapped,
spiraling down the blackest gravity well of time. I got the hell out of here, I said to Our Lady of Steel Talons. She smiles silver gels on a platitude of sin, and an ounce of guilt does miracles for Mascus and eternal damnation. As painful as it feels, I thrust my hand into the burning petals of the fiery flowered wreath. Christ hangs on the graves of my ancestors. Oh, say, can you see? My country, 'tis of thee. Molten beasts are bursting and begging. They lick my hand. Shadow creatures, shining features in the dark lands where I do not have a vehicle. I will not make one available. In the flesh, in this mess, our cars have stalled, a traffic jam to heaven. We scream. Our hearts are black and clogged with terrors, which reek a putrescent aroma, like death, I fear, is now upon us. I sing with fountains, sparkling sunlight, spilling heaven from my throat. It is the beautiful voices. I am pain, release, and sorrows wiped clean. I ask you, Lady of Flowers and Christ, is mistress of circumstances beyond our control, to accept this gift in my torment. A creation in forgiveness is easier when free from breath, when free from death, when free from flesh. I do not have the keys to the kingdom to drive my engines clean. This is called nasty. Smile, you miserable bitch, I say to the old nasty witch in the cracked mirrors of pain, visible on her rage walk to deliver furies hooked to the she-devil's triangle through her blood-flowing rivers, and smell her nasty, hairy bush. Smile, you miserable bitch, I laugh at the she-beast trapped in a tormented past. She cannot escape the hate she fabricates, so she cries an unbelievable rape. It's a sickly conceived of, nasty fantasy, woven twisted together distinctly by lies and deeper dark denials in the same degree. Smile, you miserable bitch, I mock the fork-tongued hag's burial at sea, where no one was there to pay their last respects, but me, just me, just me. And remembering how miserly and nasty you were in life to all your friends and family, I really find quite something. Smile, you miserable bitch, in hell. Now you have nothing. This is poetry from Feast of Fear. Number 5, hunger. I am an empty now, searching and seeking to be satisfied. I'm back at you, bandaged up, all in black now, waiting to be satisfied, waiting to be freed and untied, vicious with hunger and cruel without mercy. I will eat you up alive, my frightened, tender, succulent morsel. I love you
best, kept a slave in the workshops about the unstable scales of my desire. I cannot get enough, or there is too much of. I cannot now consume you fast enough without pain enough. Fast enough. I hunger for you now, feeding off nothing like a nauseous vampire. And within us, the belly of the beast knows no discomfort, residing in rotten, bloating gas. It farts out its waste merrily, reeking to high heaven, yet sickly eager to whiff it all up again, to steal it all back again, depositing them obediently into a barf, dropped dead into the insatiable feast of fear. But this, my love, is the buffet of sickness, the smorgasbord of revolting and vile, will always leave a beast hungry and hungry for more. Here, where fear cannot be satisfied by you, nor can I. This is poetry for the feast of fear. Number 4, twisted, being real sick of dead and gone. I woke in a frenzy of feeding, berserk with a fury, with broken robot parts raining down all around me in agony and rage. I opened up the last hole of my life to you, and there, festering in denial and hatred, was I, twisted and screaming and broken boned, but alive and miserable, just the worst of me left, gluttonous gorges as my only comfort. This is poetry from the feast of fear. Number 3, frantic, shock blasted and hideous with the shrieking snakes of sick, twisted brothers who hide their dark deeds with a smile. Twisted and shock blasted brothers in desperation are breathless and running out of time, and they're gasping and loving the heat, the hot, hard friction they feel, making themselves frantic for each other. They hate to admit a secret they will kill you for, to hide, bury you in graves they made for you in error. A terrible tragedy, but hey, life goes on. Who says you have to play life fair and sane? Madmen will do things their way. They will not make love. They will make war. They will not make love. They will make more. Shock blasted and hideous. The shocking snakes, secrets which slither away beside themselves, dispossessed and frantic. This is poetry, feast of fear. Number 4, next, close in time with a bright shade to darkness. I am a face which here is not beautiful with smiles and love, nicks and scars. I am a face of nothing in time with shame, nicks and scars to run down to nothing. All that I am in the face of tears. I am not very
beautiful. Here I am not picture perfect and lovely. There are no clean, bright mirrors here. They are dusty, dusted not clearly. Clean mirrors needed to reflect the page trimmings. My Indians now trimming the blood, both my spirit, passion, and rage die with a neat thick scar about while shaving your beautiful face of nothing in time. This is poetry and feast of fear. Number 1. Scared. Wanted to hide. I was not dead. There were bad thoughts in my head which told me to slay and murder and kill and delight in the slaughter of the blood of innocence, glutted and forged upon, made fat and ripe like a roach in the dark, running from the light to be hide alone. To be alone with guilt, and to taste it and lick it and love it like a man, squatting in his own shit, shrieking like a lunatic. The light will not enter me. I'm secure in the dark. Here it's safe to be sick of my secrets and die for them. Scared, nobody loves me. Read more books.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.